Good evening, everyone. As usual, there are a lot of things that's going on in the world. And I think it's really important that we have some sense, we have some idea of what's going on. There's a very tragic story coming out of the University of Virginia. I don't know if you guys have been keeping your eyes on this particular story, but it states here that students suspect in custody after 3 football players shot dead and 2 people wounded at the University of Virginia, police say. Now, unfortunately, the assailant, the one who committed the murders as well as critically wounding 2 other players, is a black man. Okay, now let me show you the pictures of the 3 football players who was killed, unfortunately. 3 handsome brothers right here who got their life taken away from them. Now, I don't know the cause behind this story, but I just kind of wanted to, put this on your radar. If you're interested, if you know anyone who goes to the University of Virginia, maybe you have kids who potentially may want to go to the University of Virginia. Now, there's been they put these stories out here, and they were stating how there's been so many shootings this year, no matter the gun laws that they in place, right? A lot of these states try to in place gun laws to prevent this very same thing. Well, not Virginia, but you get the point I'm making here. It says at least 68 shootings have unfolded this year on U.S. school grounds, including 15 on college campuses. CNN finds with at least 1 person shot in each case, not including the shooter. The deadliest school shooting in modern U.S. history remains the 2006 attack at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, where a 23-year-old student killed 32 people before dying by suicide. Unfortunately, family, that is what's going on in America right now. So they have us so distracted, they have us so deflected of what really is important, and that's a lot of things that could be prevented when we talk about real legislation in the political atmosphere. Okay, let me move on. I don't want to stay there too long. I think that's one of the stories you really want to go research yourself, nonetheless. Now, this made headways that Google pays nearly $392 million to settle sweeping location tracking case. Okay, why is this important? Because everybody has a little location or the GPS. Do you want them to know your location? And the location toggle really helps you to pinpoint certain businesses or locations. It also does a radius of different shops or restaurants that you may want to find in your area. It could be very, very helpful, but it states here that Google has agreed to pay, roughly $400 million in a settlement with 40 states over allegations. Let me blow it up. Allegations that the company tracked people through their devices after location tracking had been turned off. Even when you turn off the location tracking, you're still being tracked. That's why you see in movies are a tall tale sign of advanced technology, the uses of advanced technology, and how to avoid the authorities. How to avoid the authorities. I'm serious. Because a lot of these things, what was that movie that Will Smith was in? Enemy of the State. They were tracking this guy by cell phone, by video cameras, face recognitions, and that was what, over 10, 15 years ago. But the technology has always been there. They just hasn't made it public. Think about the biometrics on your phone, right? You got your fingerprint, you got your face. Now they're making sure that a lot of technology, making sure that your eyes are open. I know the new Google Pixel 7 Pro or 7 whatever has it where as though a toggle Your phone cannot be unlocked unless your eyes are open. So this legislation, this technology exists, family. It exists. Okay. So it states here that the company tracked people through their devices after the location tracking has been turned off. A coalition of state prosecutors announced on Monday. Goes in to say authorities said since at least 2014, Google broke consumer protection laws by misleading users about when it secretly recorded their movements, and then it offered surreptitiously harvest, I don't know that word, harvest data to digital marketers to sell advertisement, the source of nearly all of Google's revenue. Okay. And that's the thing why they use your location, because if you're in a certain area that some of the advertisers that pay Google, some of the marketers that pay Google, they make sure that if you Google something, search for something, that those advertisement pops up in your location. Oh, you're 2 miles from here. You can actually go here and eat. You're like, oh, that's helpful. But it was against the law. Now, Google said they settled, which means now sometimes when people settle, most people in Hurley think that they're guilty. It may be other things going on that Google doesn't want to reveal, their code, their software, privacy issues. It may be so many other things going on that Google just don't want to reveal, okay? So they'll just go ahead and pay the $400 million and call it a day. It also states here that for years, Google has prioritized profit over their users' privacy, okay? This is what an attorney general from Oregon is stating. But nonetheless, that is what's going on with Google. Now, there's a book by George Orwell that showed us how Google and other large conglomerate companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Samsung, how all of these quote unquote big brother companies are watching you, are listening to you. Now, if this means something to you, go and give a thumbs up in the chat. If it's just interesting, I understand. But remember George Orwell's book, 1984. Remember that? He was talking about a particular government, okay? It says that the central focus of the book is to convey the extreme level of control and power possible under a truly totalitarian regime. It explores how such a governmental system would impact society and the people who live in it. Now, also in this book that I read long time ago, the one thing that I remember is that TVs, that the government will be watching you through your TV. Well, if you guys have been in Best Buy, you've been looking on Amazon, other websites that sell electronics, certain TVs now come with webcams, right? All of your smart devices had webcams so you can speak to your loved one from countries apart, states apart. You can actually close the loop when it comes to communication, but nonetheless, TV, smart devices, your cell phone, everything has a microphone and everything has a webcam. So maybe he was a Nostradamus sort of guy. He could see technology advancing to the point where it's a two-way street of viewership and communication. Or maybe this guy was just a genius and knew where things were going to eventually go. Okay, he knew where things were going to eventually go. But 1984 covers how the government will start to use independent companies to listen in and view the citizens. Okay, and it's going to be legal. Now, if this is going to come into fruition, family, I don't know, but it's very interesting how these news stories are now revealing that companies. And I really like Google as a company. I guess I like their products. I don't really know them as a company, but nonetheless, I like their products. But they're listening in. And believe me, Alexa is too. You ever just been talking? You didn't say, and excuse me, I know I'm saying your wake word. You didn't say Echo or Alexa or blank Google. So, and these things just automatically start talking. You're like, I didn't say nothing to you, Google. And you're like, shut up or stop or whatever the case may be. That's because it's always listening. Now, they have put in hardware where you can shut off the video camera as well as the mic. So look for that to come as well, as these privacy issues become a major problem for consumers. So that is something to look at as well. Now, this came on my radar here. The Woman King RT audience score goes from 99% to 83% overnight. And what was important about this? Now, it states here that a peculiar oddity occurred this morning. The above screenshot, I'm right here, I gather lays down the fact that Woman King went from a pristine 99% RT audience score to an 83% overnight. This is mathematically impossible. And I was reading on how that this had a higher score than Black Panther. It says, to give a point of reference, Flora points out that Black Panther had a 79% audience score, and that it seems pretty unlikely that the Woman King would rank in the 99th percentile. So there's a lot of conflicting review here of these sort of movie reviewers and movie critics talking about how in the hell did Woman King, which family, in my opinion, action-wise, the movie was okay. When it comes to the historical facts, the movie is 100% inaccurate. If you were to tell me, hey, should I go see Woman King or should I go see Black Adam? I'm gonna tell you go see Black Adam. Tracy, B1 to you as well. I'm going to tell you to go see Black Adam. That's what I'm going to tell you, okay? So I don't know how the Woman King has a higher rating than Black Panther, because when I went to go see the Woman King, it was probably like 10 people in there. When I went to go see Wakanda Forever, and as well as the first Black Panther, the movie theater is packed. You even have those people, right, that couldn't get tickets in time to get like the top 3 rows from the back of the movie house. They have those rows right in front where they have to recline their seats like this because the screen is right in front of their face. But nonetheless, that is what we're talking about, family, okay? I don't know how in the hell the Woman King would ever possibly rank higher than Black Panther or Wakanda Forever, okay? Just a side note. I mean, yeah. But anyway, here's something else you guys should keep your eye on. Apple job listing suggests that the company is building a metaverse of its own for its long-rumored headsets, okay? Apple is looking for engineers who can develop a 3D mixed reality world for its coming headset. Now, I would say more times than not, when Apple does something, they do it well. They do it well. The last time I checked the Apple stock, I believe that the Apple stock was around 848 EPS, okay? Basically, family, that earnings per share, that EPS, is basically letting you know how profitable a company really is. And Apple is very, very profitable. When you go overseas, especially to a lot of Asian companies, you're going to see 2 types of phones. You're not going to even really see a Google Pixel. You're not. You're going to see an Apple, you're going to see an iPhone or a Samsung phone. That's pretty much it. Those are the 2 phones you're going to see throughout Asia, whether it be Korea, Japan, China. You're going to see all types of stuff. China be cloning and copying and replica, all types of stuff. So with China, hands off with that one. What's going on, Brent C? I see you, brother. But yeah, so Apple is making its own metaverse. And the only question I have is, how are they going to monetize it? Are they going to monetize it like Elon Musk is monetizing Twitter, where things are no longer free, where you have to pay $8 for an additional check to make sure that your account is official? I don't know if that's been implemented yet, but that's been rumored. He actually said it himself. Now, if you pay an additional $8, shouldn't they increase your character limit? Don't you hate when you have something really good to type on Twitter and then there's a character limit? Now, no one wants to read a whole book. No one's going to read your tweet. It was a whole book or, 3 or 4 paragraphs. But if you're going to pay that extra amount of money, then they should increase your character limit amount on Twitter if you're going to pay that $8. Me, I don't know if I'm going to pay the $8 just to have a check by my name. This is something to think about, family. Now, the company I used to work for is now laying off 10,000 corporate employees. Now, very profitable business. Once the richest man in the world. Jeff Bezos is no longer the CEO, but nonetheless, he was the richest man in the world for quite some time. But it states here that Amazon is said to lay off 10,000 of his employees, okay? And you come down here, family, the job cuts at Amazon will represent roughly 3% of its corporate employees and less than 1% of its global workforce of more than 1.5 million people. It states here that the cuts will focus on Amazon's device organization, including the voice assistant Alexa, as well as its retail division and in-human resources. So they're cutting human resources. They're cutting maybe the software engineers that has been working on the AI for Alexa, and maybe Amazon's AI technology is already advanced. It probably can just write its own code, a computer that writes its own code to be more advanced. I mean, that's the times we're living in, the family. But yeah, Amazon is going to start laying off people here, at least 10,000 people. And majority of those people, if not all, will be part of the corporate structure. Okay, so those tier 1 associates, those tier 2 associates, those tier 3 associates, those level 4, 5, 6 managers that are working in fulfillment and warehouses, they're safe. They're trimming the fat at the very top. Those people with salaries that are $200, $300, $400, and $500,000 that are basically sitting there sending emails. That's what Amazon is saying. I'm not stating it. It says that 10,000 will represent roughly 3% of Amazon's corporate employees and less than 1% of its global workforce of more than 1.5 million, which is primarily composed of hourly workers, the people who actually do the work. Even with inflation, gas prices rising, or they came down a little bit. Grocery prices are up. All of these things are up. People are still buying things on Amazon. No one's stopping their Amazon Prime. You want your things in the same day, 2 days, at the most 3 days. So have you ever forgot someone's birthday or a special occasion, or you about to go to somebody's house? You can order that at 6 a.m. in the morning on your way to the gym or to work, and it'll be there before you get home at night. That's how powerful Amazon is. So they're definitely not cutting any of his warehouse workers, part of the workforce, the hourly workers, but they're chopping 10,000 people from their corporate offices. So these people no longer have job security. I hope you was tracking what you was working on. I hope that you have been bringing value to the company, because I can tell you right now, everyone's cutting the fat. Everyone is trimming the fat, and they're starting at the top. Like, we need the people who are actually putting the work on the table and getting things done that's bringing value and revenue and yield to the company. Those people who are just kind of holding a position, shooting a couple of emails, keeping communication, we can kind of put this on somebody else's table and increase their pay about $10,000, $15,000. That's what's going to occur. A lot of these job positions, especially at Amazon, are going to go away. And they're going to they're going to fall under somebody else's title. Now, instead of having 13 duties, now you're going to have 30 duties. And they're going to pay you extra $10,000, $15,000 more. But for those who work in the corporate office of Amazon, they probably knew this way before I did. Things are getting thin. Now, I just had to throw this up here because I'm looking at this guy like he went from Kim Kardashian to a supermodel. Pete Davidson. This was intriguing. It was interesting. I I thought he would fall by the wayside, but I guess he leveled up even more so with this lady right here. Okay, with this lady right here, he leveled up, so to speak, with a supermodel. And she stated, "Thank you for a wonderful night," hashtag all that stuff, right? And it states here, as for the two dating history, don't know how to pronounce the young lady's name, but she filed for divorce from her ex-husband, Sebastian, in July of 2022 after he allegedly cheated on her multiple times. The two have been married since 2018 and share their 2-year-old son named Sylvester Apollo Bear. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's rumored to be dating Hollywood A-lister Brad Pitt. Brad and Emily have spent time together, but it's very casual. They're friends, yada, yada, with both of them having a lot. And then it states here, Davidson, on the other hand, split with ex-girlfriend Kim Kardashian August 2022. Wait a minute, didn't they get together in 2022? Like, it was one of those things I believe Kim Kardashian did just to get back at Kanye West. Me personally, I never had a girlfriend to do that where they dated someone that I'll find out that they're dating them. And I was like, you went from me to that? You went from me to that? Oh. That's the way I look at it. And I know Kanye West is like, man, how could she leave me from him? And then he levels up with a supermodel, okay? Let me continue here. It says that he split with his girlfriend August 22 through recent rumors speculated the two were rekindling their romance. A source told TMZ that the former couple has moved on and are not still in communication. Looks like the two are not available, but potentially looking for love. We're wishing the best of these two. Wow. Kim Kardashian went from Kanye West to Pete Davidson, which was a level up for Pete and levels down for Kim, which helped him get clout to level up to a supermodel. Wow. Man, them entertainment folks, I tell you, you can't live their life. What's going on, Vern? What's going on, Big Dog? Now, something more serious, family. I brought this to you guys' attention yesterday that your president, I guess all of our president, but anyway, Joe Biden, when he came out with this August of this year, stating that he announced his student loan relief for borrowers who need it the most, basically meaning that he reduced the people who will be getting the student loan forgiveness. And it's no longer student loan forgiveness. Have you noticed that? It is now student loan relief. It's no longer student loan forgiveness. It is student loan relief. It's a reason for that. See, when these guys are on their campaign trail, they'll tell the American people anything. Anything that you want to hear, anything for them to get into office. And when they get into office, the United States Department of Treasury, they be like, excuse me, Mr. President, can I speak to you for a second? Oh, yeah, Bill. How can I help you? Well, we won't be able to give American people student loan forgiveness. Is that so? Well, I promised the American people that I give them student loan forgiveness, especially those with Pell Grants and et cetera. Mr. President, our budget is at $31.3 trillion. We really don't even have the money to do anything for the American people financially. But you know what, Mr. President? We can still give Ukraine $100 billion. I'm petty as hell. I'm petty. I know. So they renamed it to student loan relief, no longer student loan forgiveness. See, that's the trick language where they just kind of change it really quickly, but it came out in August, right? And even with the student loan relief, guess what happened? Appeals court blocks Biden's student loan forgiveness program, stating basically that it's unconstitutional. That's right. It's unconstitutional. Let me read a little bit more here. It states a federal appeals court on Monday blocked the Biden administration from moving ahead with this mass student debt cancellation program, dealing another blow to the administration plan after it was ruled unlawful by a federal judge in Texas last week. See, the aid to Ukraine was bipartisan. So the Republicans like, oh, that's unconstitutional. You up here paying people bills. Because here's my thing, family. If you don't have student loan debt, right? What about my house mortgage? What about my car note? Can they pay that too? Can I pay that too? And stay with me. I know a lot of you want your student loan debt to be forgive, relief, wiped away, canceled, whatever they want to use. But here's the fact of the matter. We know in order to be competitive in this nation, you have to do one or two things, basically. You have to be an entrepreneur that really doesn't require any higher education, or you need a degree or certification or license or something. You can't just be some Joe Smo coming out of high school. Your best job is probably Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's or Jack in the Crack or Dairy Queen, something like that, right? Working at a grocery store, packing up fruit or something. So you need something that it is a skill or degree, or you start your own business. When you enter into a contract with the government, whether it be the state, federal, or independent level, and you take out a loan, you have an obligation to pay back that loan. So during this whole campaign, I was telling people, I'm like, well, is it possible for them to cancel your debt? Well, yeah, the American government can do whatever the hell they want. Is it possible for them to relieve, to forgive? Of course it is. The question is, will they be able to? Especially the Republicans are on a rise. They may take over the House. Who knows? Okay, they may take over the House. So the power is now shifting and it's balancing, family. Now you have an independent courts stating that it's unconstitutional. And I think a lot of these are coming from the red side of the House. But nonetheless, family, when we look at this, they're not just letting the president do what he wants to do when we have this a massive amount of debt in America. So again, this is where you have to put on your big boy shoes and you say, well, I enter inside of this contract by taking out a loan to better my education. Just like when people enter a 30-year mortgage, a 15-year mortgage, a 6-year car loan. You know that for 6 years, you're gonna have to pay back that car loan. You know for 30 years, you're gonna have to pay back that mortgage loan. And you know with student debt, man, you have to pay student debt back in perpetuity. A friend of mine went to Penn State. He owed Penn State $70,000. So it behooves you to get on your grind and start paying your debt. Because if you voted for Joe Biden, he was going to do debt relief, debt cancellation, debt forgiveness of your student loans, then you might have to wait a little bit longer. I don't know if it's going to get done. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I'm just neutral about it. I just know that when I take out a loan that I'm going to have to pay it back. I'm not going to just, oh, well, the president said he's going to pay off my house, so I'm going to vote for the president. There's other things that should be on the table when we're voting. That's just my conjecture about it, family. But if you thought that your student loan was going to get paid off, well, yeah, family. Yep. That is what's going on. But on the brighter side, here's some good news. Here's some really good news for you guys who are in support of humanitarian efforts and aids. You know, Biden canceled $10,000 in federal student loan debt for most borrowers, but Biden signs $40 billion aid package for Ukraine during trip to Asia. How does that work? Now, again, there's a lot of things at play here, family. Again, this is a bipartisan effort. And we have all these different budget of humanitarian aid that goes out to different people. But it's a big slap in the face to the American people who voted in this administration for student loan forgiveness. For student loan forgiveness. And you know the thing about America and these different political parties, that they give you your talking points so you can convince other people of what you guys should be worried about, right? Here's the thing, family. They made the American people care about illegal immigrants, illegal migrants. Then they demonized the Republicans when Texas and Florida was shipping these illegal immigrants / migrants to places like Detroit, Martha's Vineyard, DC, New York, all these quote unquote sanctuary cities, because Texas, one of the main states to say we want secure borders, but people in these sanctuary cities do not live on the border. You don't see Canadians coming over the border, right? Because their economy is intact. But the sanctuary cities are in New York. Before you get to New York and you're coming from Cuba, Haiti, Guatemala, Mexico, South America, the Caribbean, you have to go through one of these bordering states like Florida and Texas. They're like, we are not sanctuary cities. We want secure borders. See, and this is how they play it. Oh, well, that sounds Republican. No, it sounds like a country that wants to secure itself. Now, you can ask any of my military friends, when we went to other countries, third world countries, these countries had secure borders. Why in the hell that the most powerful country in the world does not have secure borders? Then we say, oh, well, the jobs that these so-called illegal immigrants have, no American wants them. Well, no American wants them because they're getting paid like $3 an hour. If we secure our borders and have people who come through those borders illegally go through a legal immigration process, then guess what? When these people hire these legal immigrants, then they will have to pay them the minimum wage of that state. See, I'm not saying go after illegal immigrants. I'm saying go after the people who hire illegal immigrants. Go after the people who hire illegal immigrants, because those are the real criminals. See, I understand that people come across the border for opportunities to feed their family, for better health care, a better way of living, etc. The reasons are astronomical. But nonetheless, the real criminals here are the people who hire them and the people who don't report them. Again, I'm not against immigrants at all. I'm just against illegal immigration. And I'm against this bullshit right here. Because I told you, I'm very neutral on the student loan forgiveness. But if you're going to get $40 billion on top of the $60 billion that you gave to Ukraine, then why can't you do loan forgiveness? Why can't you do loan forgiveness? Because evidently we have the money, or we have the debt to pay off the debt. That's the issue right here. Because I'm going to tell you something, family. Certain numbers do not matter in America. Let me tell you the one major number that doesn't matter. This number, 31.3 million, trillion dollars. $31.3 trillion. That's right. I'm rounding up. This number over here to your far left, the U.S. national debt, and rising. And rising, family. And when you add up the U.S. federal tax revenue, the revenue per citizen, the total state revenue, the total local revenue, it does not even balance the books, or we're not even breaking even. Okay, we're not even breaking even, family. This country is highly in debt to itself. as I stated before, it's still a marvel to me how we can operate. Inflation went down from 8.4 to 8.2 to 7.7 now. But if you're going to buy a house, look for your interest rate to be anywhere from 6 to 10%. If you're going to buy a car, look for your interest rate to be anywhere from 5 to 10%. So again, as I told you back in February, I believe, that we are in a recession. You don't have to wait till the government to tell you that you're in a recession. Oh, well, you know, the reason why we're not in a recession because unemployment is still down. Well, Amazon is laying off 10,000 people, which is only, again, 2 to 3% of their corporate workforce. But nonetheless, if you go and research certain Fortune 500 companies, you will see that a lot of these companies are laying off 10,000 people. That means that the unemployment rate is going to rise. Okay, gas prices are still high. Food prices are still high. Services and products are still high. We are in a recession. Don't wait for the government to tell you that. Just use your brain. You got a brain for a reason and use it. Don't go and look at CNN and HSN and HLN and MSNBC and NBC and ABC and Fox News to tell you something that you already know. You're the man and woman on the ground. You know what's going on. You know people are getting laid off. You know that prices are astronomical right now. You know that you're paying more at the pump. You're paying more in the grocery store. You're even paying more for fast food and things of that nature. So when you look at these things, a lot of times we turn on the news because we're trying to get informed. But quite frankly, family, the only thing you have to do is do a quick Google search. Read a couple of news stories, because that's where the real news is. Because when you go on these major news white media sites, they give you their bias. They give you their conjecture more times than not, unless it's a story that every news agency is covering. They don't give you the truth. They stretch the truth. But family, woo, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I see we got Pipkins in here. School system gets money for every child in the school as well. That's why they want those borders open as well. Class sizes are ridiculous. Here's something else to look at, and I think I stated this before. If other countries, let's just take, for instance, south of the border, right? South of the border, Mexico, South America, Central America, those large, what do they call them, caravans, 10, 20, 30,000 people come to America, and then we legalize them, right? They're no longer illegal immigrants. They are legal immigrants. They become U.S. citizens, or they get visas, whatever, right? What happened to the population growth of America? Now, Bill Gates allegedly was coming out how to decrease the world's population. And family, if you live in a major city, have you seen the population of your cities increase exponentially? Like, there's always these projections of how many babies are being born, how many married couples or single parents there will be. There's always these surveys and projections of the population growth here in America. Everybody is coming to America for quote unquote opportunities, right? But what happens when America becomes overpopulated? No one's talking about overpopulation. See, anytime that a country becomes overpopulated, guess what's going to occur? Grocery prices are going to rise. That's where we are now. Interest rates are going to rise. That's where we are now. Gas prices are going to rise. That's where we are now. This is basic economics. The key to a bright future in America economically is to, what the American government, I believe, has been trying to do, but it has not been working because they always want something from these countries, is to assist and support other countries to stabilize their economy, decrease their crime and poverty rates, to keep people in their countries. Now, granted, of course, people are going to travel, vacation, visit family members that are around the world, but United States of America, as well as UK, are quote unquote the missing packs. Why? The Western world, the powerhouses, the economic powerhouses, the highest GDPs. Why is that? Oh, maybe because the Western world has raped, robbed, pillaged, and plunged all of these other countries. So now they're like, hey, you destroyed our countries. You stole our resources. You colonized our people. Now we're coming to get what's ours. I don't know. My thoughts are so damn random when it comes to this. Why these other countries are impoverished and ravished. And then you look at the history of the country. Majority of these countries have been colonized by the French, by the English, by the Spanish, and by the Dutch. Quote unquote, hashtag Netherlands when we talk about the Dutch. But basically, I can go around the European world and connect different countries that colonize those people and look at their countries. When you rape, rob, pillage, and plunder their resources. So is it right for them to come back and feed off the very same company that stole from them? I'll leave that open, family. You guys have a great and wonderful Monday. A lot of questions, not enough answers. I'm out.